It's my very great pleasure, and it will come as a surprise to you, that I'm introducing our very newest honorary doctorate into the university, and I would like to invite him to present the occasional address to you as our audience for today. Gary Smith.
Thank you for the introduction, Vice-Chancellor. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners on this land we meet today and pay our respects to elders, both past, present and future, for they hold the memories, the traditions, the culture and the hopes for Aboriginal Australia. Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, academic staff of UNE, my fellow colleagues from UNE partnerships, graduands, your families, your friends, my friends and my family, and of course the staff of UNE for getting today where we have as a result of the inclement weather. Also, I would like to welcome people out in cyber space who are currently using the UNE social media channels as well. And it is indeed an honour to be awarded this honorary doctorate by UNE and also to deliver today's occasional address. Earlier I asked the Chancellor how long my speech should be, and he replied, "Gary, you can take as long as you want, but we're gone in 10 minutes. So, graduates, as an avid collector of Dr. Seuss photos or prints taken from his books, what does he say in his book, Oh, the Places You Go? Congratulations, today is your day. You're off to great places, you're off and away. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own and you know what you know, and you are the guy who decides where you go." I left high school in 1974 with the marks I received in my high school certificate were 250 out of 500. Just a pass. No entry to university, no entry to teachers' college, but there was my first break in life. My best friend's father was on the local council and I was given an administration position over other applicants with higher academic portfolio than me. Lucky break number one. I commenced my health and building surveyor certificate at Sydney Technical College in 1977 by correspondence, and upon completing this in early 80s, I thought it was time, as the Chancellor said, to leave the comfort of my home in rural New South Wales and move to the big smoke, Sydney. Back in those days, if you were successful in gaining an interview in local government, your expenses for the interview were paid. But living in rural New South Wales and not employed in health and building, it was unlikely I would be asked to come to Sydney for an interview. So what did I do? When I went to Sydney for a holiday, I would personally deliver my applications for health and building surveys to various councils around Sydney and advise them that I would be available for an interview. Well, lucky break number two. The Chief Health and Building Surveyor of a Sydney council was a bushie like me, and the move from my hometown, Balranald in southwestern New South Wales, took place in May of 1982. This decision was all based on the roll of a dice. Well, actually 3 rolls. While visiting a friend, I received the call advising me that I had the position. Rather than joy and excitement at the news, fear and trepidation took control. There were 3 large marble dice sitting on my friend's shelf. So I said, I will roll them, and if they come up evens, I'll take it. And if they come up odds, I won't. Well, I rolled the dice and they came up evens. And I said, let's make it 2 out of 3. So still undecided, I rolled them again, and it seemed like these dice rolled forever across the carpeted floor. And the rest is history. They came up evens. I ended up becoming head of the health department of a council in Sydney. Lucky break number 3 occurred when a friend of mine was installing a new pool one hot December day in 1982. And I said to my friend, "Who was that person concreting around your pool?" And he said, "Oh, that's my local doctor." As we opened our first 24-hour medical practice in 1985, I said to the doctors, "You worry about the medical side and I'll look after the administration." And some 36 years later, I'm still managing the same medical practice in Western Sydney. Were they all lucky breaks, or was it fake? An interesting philosophical discussion to have around the water cooler. In the 90s, I was interviewed by a medical magazine regarding my profession and the contribution I had made to practice management within the healthcare sector. The article was published with the title, "The Guru of Practice Management." And to this day, I'm still known by that statement. The pressure is always on me to live up to this, and I strive to make a difference every day. I was giving a keynote address at an international conference once, and the host introduced me as the maven of practice management. I walked onto the stage, smiled, and thanked the person for their introduction. Of course, I had no idea what maven of practice management meant, and continued with my keynote. When I finished, I left the stage and did an internet search for the definition of the word maven. It is a person who is experienced or is knowledgeable in their chosen profession and provides of their time freely. That person picked me in one. I learnt a long time ago that the knowledge I have gained is not for me to keep, because I have gained it from someone else. We are but a custodian of information, and it is ours to share, but not to keep. So what is community? Community is a sense of belonging, a need to be part of a group. Research has shown that most people have a need to belong, whether it is in their local church group, community service group, or even just turning up on Tuesdays to the local school tuck shop roster. What happens in community? Ideas are exchanged, communication skills are improved, friendships are developed, support mechanisms are enacted, whether consciously or subconsciously. Consider who or what is your future community, as it will put you in good stead to fulfil your needs, both professionally and personally. I could not have achieved what I have without the support of my professional community, like my professional association, the Australian Association of Practice Management, which I might add also is a big part of my personal nourishment, as well as being honoured with several awards by industry, but none more prestigious than life membership of my association, the AAPM. My community also comprises of the 8 or so boards I currently sit on, both locally and internationally, and the 27 advisory groups to government I have been on over the past 25 years. These have all contributed to my professional and personal nourishment. I'm always there for the grassroots, because that is where the rubber hits the road. Can or have I made a difference? I believe I've had an influence. The certification you've received today will put you in good stead to take your learning principles forward and use them to consider and define workplace culture. The concept of professional development may not be new to you, and it is an important aspect that should be involved in all our lives. Professional development continually progresses and refines your character and qualities as a professional. It's about lifelong learning and growing as an individual. There are many ways to acquire skill through education that has value to someone else. Never underestimate the role, the importance and influence on your career of vocational education and training courses. The Certificate 3s, the 4s, the diplomas and the advanced diplomas. These courses will provide you with a greater insight into your chosen profession, even your self-interest in life. Did you know that the average person will change careers between 5 and 17 times during their lifetime? That's careers, not jobs, mind you. So what did Dr. Seuss say about your future professional challenges? You will come to a place where the streets are not marked. Some windows are lightened and mostly they're darked. A place you could sprain both your elbow and chin. Do you dare to stay out or do you go in? How much can you lose? How much can you win? And if you go in, should I turn left or right and 3/4, or maybe not quite? Or go around the back and sneak in from behind? Simple it's not. I'm afraid you will find for a mind maker to make up their mind. Everyone is unique, and this uniqueness has value. But only the individual can explore and discover what that uniqueness is in themselves. Developing skills is a powerful skill in itself. This is the tool of superachievers. An American writer of the 19th century, Bayard Taylor, once said something about learning. Learn to live and live to learn. So while this is in the end of part of your educational journey, please also remember that it is also the beginning. The certification you receive here today is a magnificent personal achievement, and I'm sure that UNE, as a partner, feel proud of your achievement. Your strength is internal, and you need to look forward and outwards in an imaginative way to seize your place in society. In 1992, when I left my hometown, I connected the telephone to my parents' house, thinking that my parents would call me from time to time when I moved to Sydney. Could you imagine not having a telephone? And that's not a story in itself, but in 1986, I was fortunate to have a telephone in my car at a cost of $8,000. I can hear $8,000. It was Saturday night, and I'm driving into Sydney from the Blue Mountains. So I decided to call home and say hi. Well, it was just like the Three Stooges. My father had his brother there, and both just couldn't grasp the concept of a phone in a car. My father said, "Where are you, son?" And I told him that I was in the car on the freeway. His response of, "Geez, you must have a long cord." That's a true story. But on my father's deathbed, he said to me, "Son, I'm really proud of what you've done in life, but I don't know what it is." This actually highlights what your future professional career might look like, the unknown. Each of you have a different story that has led you here to this graduation, but it announces that you are ready to go ahead to the next step in your lives. You have passed through an important part of the learning process and now have reached a personal milestone. But what does Dr. Zeus say about the challenges of taking the next step in life? You'll get mixed up, of course, as you already know. You'll get mixed up with many strange birds as you go. So be sure when you step with great care and great tact. And remember that life's a great balancing act. Just never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mix up your right foot with your left. The education you achieve and answers to yourself, your family, your future employer, your chosen profession, that you are ready to go ahead to the next step in your lives. You are passing through an important part of the learning process. The psychologist Carl Gustav Jung said, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes." So today I remind you to look into your hearts and be awake before you embark upon a dream that is not your own. Be sure to make your choices when you are fully awake, decisions that are informed by our heart and not by what others say or think or believe. Our contribution to the world will be not measured by the money we make or the accolades we receive, but by rather how we share our unique gifts with the world. And the only place to find those gifts is to look within yourself. So go forth, class of 2021, and do not follow where the path may lead. I challenge you instead to go where there is no path and leave a trail. You are the architects of the future in your chosen field. Thank you, UNE, for this honour, Doctor of Letters, not only for me, but for my profession of practice management. So what does Dr. Zeus say in the closing pages of his book, Oh, the Places You Go? Be your name Bucksbourne or Bixby or Bray or Mordiaki Ali Van O'Shea. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is awaiting, so get on your way. Thank you very much.